Hi, I'm Paul Shelley, and today I want to be talking to you around the subject of creativity. And the reason why I want to talk about this is that it's real tendency for creatives, obviously, to be very hard on themselves a lot of the time. And I know I've been plenty hard on myself over years, in different ways. We all go through the kind of flows, the energy flows, the inspiration flows, obviously the lows that go with that. But also every different task involves very many different types of skills, especially if you work over a few areas in the creative fields, whether you're in kind of more physical art or whether you're in digital or music or whatever you're in. And obviously the more we can get away from being hard on ourselves and working out ways to use those energies and understand some of our thoughts better in order to use them positively into our work, the better it's going to influence our work, the more inspiration we'll have, and the more we'll be able to produce and feel good as we're producing it. So the thought about today is really about different types of creativity. And it was something I never really understood until I was a lot older. And when I was younger, I was always kind of conscious that if someone handed me a piece of paper and said, draw something, I couldn't do it. It's just not a type of creativity in that direction that I have. But then what I realized is there's also different types of creativity. So for example, if you're a fine artist, you will have been copying the master's works and the brush strokes and the kind of intentions, the emotions that go along with the drawings. You might be trying to create the same visual imagery or adapt a style, kind of learn those specifically in the kind of original high quality way, and then learn how it influences your work and what you do with it. And that's a very different type of creativity than someone handing you something and you just starting. But the thing to kind of become more aware of, I feel, is that they're both equal to each other. There are many different types of creativity that are not things that should limit us in how we see ourselves as how creative we are. But actually we should use these to enhance, understand in different areas where we have different types of creativity. If I'm writing, I can write out several pages in an hour if I'm in that kind of frame of mind. But again, drawing would be a terrible, it's just something that doesn't come naturally to me. But it doesn't mean that I haven't got that type of creativity or that it couldn't be used in different ways. So when you're kind of going through your work, I think it's really helpful to understand firstly where you feel most natural, which kind of elements of your work pull you into which types of creativity, whether it's, starting from a basis or maybe a style or maybe a kind of framework, and then you might be incredibly good at being really intuitive and insightful and have these kind of fresh angles on things that you can bring into that project. But it may have been started from a very classical approach or something that's already been created. And that's great. Whichever is most comfortable for you in whichever situation is the one to kind of keep developing. It's good to be aware of what else we have, but it's so important to give yourself the kind of the validation and give yourself the permission to not require everything of yourself in every situation, and be able to kind of isolate these things, analyze them when they come up. If you're in a project that you've been given a new project and you have no starting point, you obviously have to find your inspiration, you have to find your direction, you have to find your purpose, you have to find all the things that you want to get into that project, that it comes out in that inspiring, creative way that in a way is expected of you in the creative sphere. So working out which way you like to work also gives you time to think about how that would look best and actually bring more attention into how you go through that process. Because if you're sitting down and you're just kind of hoping, there's no real thought process, you just want it to flow naturally, a lot of the time that's very chancy. Sometimes it's great if you're in the right mood, you're inspired on the day, whatever around you's been going right, that's fine, and you might make something amazing. And you'll find there's plenty of times, as we all do, where it's just not there as much. And we all go through those waves of inspiration and energy with that. But understanding your types of creativity and your preferred types of creativity means we can kind of delve further into there and start learning more about those areas of our lives. You know, what we can do to strengthen that skill, that approach, how we kind of expand our mind in those areas. And once you get more of that, you can start building more structure and more consistency, which is really where we're going. You know, it's to build more consistency into your inspiration, into your projects, how you can bring that energy back when you need it, as opposed to waiting for it or trying to catch it. You know, you go, oh, it's a Saturday morning, I've woken up inspired, quick, get it before it goes. And, you know, we want to be able to work out how also to bring those more consistently when we want them. And so we can start adding more structure into our work, and so we can start producing more and more better quality things. Because that's what's going to be your expression as an artist at the end of the day. You know, whether it's digital or physical, it really doesn't matter. So yeah, that's really where I wanted to kind of take this today, is just analysing which ones you prefer, understanding in different situations which ones you prefer, and then within those situations take a bit of time out to actually look into that, what you find easy about that, what you find hard about that, why that's natural for you, where that's kind of coming from, and learn about the area as well. You know, do some reading and start working out different methodologies that you can bring in, that you can actually have as a structure ready for yourself when you want to go through that process. If it's in a different sphere of creativity, exactly the same thing. Start focusing there in that realm, start learning around it, and then start learning how to bring in other ideas, other concepts, other methodologies. And this is how you start to strengthen different sides of your creativity. Also know where to build on them, so we're not just hoping they, you know, develop over time, which of course there will be some element of that. But if you want to build them in that, you know, in a much more structured and a way that will get you the results so much faster, but also make it so much more consistent in your life, then getting more organised about this and just looking a bit deeper into it's going to be so useful for you. So I really hope you try that. And I'll be making a lot more videos, so check out the channel, click like or subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I'll speak to you next time.